Hi there, welcome back to the Anchor Academy. Today's episode will be following on from episode 2 and we'll be having a more in-depth discussion of the machine fundamentals. We'll be discussing the human-machine interface, or the HMI, and we'll be diving into the machine, and I'll be explaining the general layout, some of the more important components, and the kinematic layout, or how the machine moves around. These are basics, but I still recommend you pay close attention because we don't want you crushing the machine. So let's get into it. I'm standing here in front of the HMI, which consists of the front panel, the keyboard, and the button cluster. The first element we'll talk about is the front panel. This is where you'll be spending most of your time on the machine. This is how we launch and talk to the application software. It's where we monitor the grinding cycles, where we launch any other utility programs or any other manual programs. There's a lot of things you'll be doing on the front panel, so you'd want to become familiar with this. Below the front panel, we have the keyboard. In this case, we're on an MX machine. And the MX has both a physical keyboard and the front panel. The other models, the FX, the TX, and the CPX, they all have a front panel only with a virtual keyboard. Below the keyboard, we have the button cluster, and I'll be going through some of the important functions now. On the left-hand side of the cluster, we have all of the manual machine control buttons, as well as the MPG wheel. We'll be going over them later in the episode. In the middle here, we have the spindle speed pot and the feed rate pot. We also have spindle on and coolant on. This button here is the auto button. You need to press this in order to put the machine into manual mode so that you can run it around with the MPG wheel. When we're running programs, we have it in automatic mode. Cycle start, that's obviously an important one. That kicks off your grinding program. Moving to the right-hand side, we have the error reset button, which allows you to clear any errors that might pop up. The abort button, which will abort a loaded program in the APD. We also have the door open, which is a self-explanatory one. And we have a lot of accessory-specific buttons, pop-up steadies, aerobatex, top clamps, that kind of thing. This is how you can directly control those accessories. And finally, we have the collet open button down here, which allows you to open and close the collet. Finally, on the far right-hand side, we have the e-stop button. When you hit this, the machine will go into the e-stop condition. And finally, we also have a dead man switch here, which will also put the machine into the e-stop condition when fully pulled. This needs to be used for various commissioning and setup routines. Okay, that's the machine interface covered. Next up, we'll be moving inside the machine and we'll go through the machine layout. A good way to think of the machine layout is that the machine is split into two sides, the workpiece side and the wheel side. And any grinding move we perform in the machine is simply moving one relative to the other. So let's have a look. Now on the workpiece side, we have the headstock spindle and the work holding system, which is bolted to the headstock spindle. And finally, the workpiece sitting inside that work holding system. Now the work holding system we have fitted here is a collet system, in this case, a W25 Premier Plus PCA. Now, in episode 1 of the Anchor Academy, we go through a full setup of this particular collet system. So I encourage you to check that out if you want to learn more. And now on the other side, we have the wheel side. And in this case, we have the grinding spindle here, and we have the wheel pack loaded into the main grinding spindle, as well as the coolant manifold on top to deliver coolant to the grinding wheel during grinding. Now, as I mentioned, all grinding moves are simply moving the wheel relative to the workpiece. But we actually achieve this by moving one or more of the machine axes. This machine we're on today is an MX, and it has 5 axes, 3 linear and 2 rotary. This is the same with the TX and FX machine ranges. The CPX machine, our blank grinding machine, has a slightly different kinematic layout with only 3 axes, but we won't be going into that today. Before we start moving the machine around, I'd like to explain exactly what's happening when we command a move. And that is that we're moving an effector point inside a coordinate system. Now, in most cases, particularly when grinding, the effector point will be attached to some part of the wheel, and the coordinate system will be attached to the end of tool. So when we say we're moving the wheel relative to the workpiece, we're really moving an effector point attached to the wheel relative to a coordinate system attached to the end of the workpiece. Now, as I mentioned, the machine has 5 axes, 3 linear and 2 rotary. But if we think about it in terms of the workpiece and the wheel sides, we have 4 axes on the workpiece side and 1 axis on the wheel side. So let's go inside and have a look and move some things around. First, we'll start with the x-axis, a linear axis on the workpiece side. The next linear axis is y, and the final linear axis is z. The first rotary axis on the workpiece side is the a-axis. And then finally, the last rotary axis on the wheel side is the c-axis. The next part of the machine I'd like to talk about is the coolant delivery system. And again, this can be broken down into coolant delivered on the workpiece side and on the wheel side. So on the workpiece side, we have the main coolant delivery nozzle here, and that will shoot coolant directly at the tool. And on the wheel side, we have the coolant manifold with fully configurable pipes to suit your wheel pack, which ensure that we spray coolant directly at the grind point. Now, we can control these headstock and coolant manifold independently using the MX Coolant application here, or inside iGrind in a given tool file, we can turn it on and off for any given operation. So we have full control over how we deliver coolant to the tool during grinding. The last component we'll talk about today is the touch probe. You can find the touch probe just to the left of the main grinding spindle on the C-axis. The touch probe can perform many different tasks, run-out digitizing, hook digitizing, index digitizing, but the main role of the touch probe, and the one most commonly performed, is end-of-tool digitizing. This is particularly important because after end-of-tool digitizing, we set the machine coordinate system during grinding at that end of tool, and that way we can command all of the grinding moves relative to the end of tool. So I'll quickly demonstrate the end-of-tool digitizing operation now. Once you hear the beep, it's completed digitizing, and there we go. Well, that's all we have for today's episode. I hope you learned a little bit more about the machine fundamentals and that you're more confident moving the machine around. If there's anything that you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please leave it in the comments below. And as always, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you in the next episode.